This is the Power of OZmosis podcast, powered by the Vidwheel Creator Network.
Hi everyone, John Osberg here with OZmosis Consulting Group. This is the Power of OZmosis podcast, powered by Vidwheel Creator Network. I'm excited to be joined today by some of my best friends, Steve Barkowski of Western New York PGA, Nick Martone with Team F.A.S.T, and Alex Villafranca with Verde Golf. Really excited. We're coming to you today from Glen Oak in the heart of East Amherst, the golf hub of Western New York, I like to call it, where so many cool community, golf, and business things happen. And Steve is one of the drivers of those, along with these two other gentlemen. So really excited to be joined. Gentlemen, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having me, John.
Glad to have you. Haven't seen you since we won that national championship down in Florida.
It's been a little time, yeah. But that was a pretty cool experience
it was
to see
tough.
Jack Nicklaus and win a national championship.
I cut you off. I meant to say it was tough not seeing you for almost 3 weeks. But agreed, it was pretty cool. Steve, why don't you tell the folks, the millions of followers watching this, what it was just real quick, doubles golf.
Sure. And again, thanks, Johnny, for having me on here. It's an absolute honor. Pleasure to be here with my real good friends. I think we've all connected over the past year together. But doubles golf, Johnny and I were fortunate enough to represent Western New York. This past year was the first time ever rolled out in the Western New York area, as well as 14 other areas across the country. It's a two-person scramble, all different divisions, and it's focused on getting new generation into the game of golf, because we all know our time is pretty valuable nowadays. So what it is, it's 9 holes, short course, so that you can play in hour and 15 to an hour and a half. And this year we actually had leagues across the section with 10 different clubs playing. It's an amateur golf association, not professional. And Johnny and I were fortunate enough to qualify here at the state championship at Glen Oak, and we're able to see Jack Nicklaus down at the Bears Club play against the 14 other sections across the country and win the first ever doubles golf national championship for the men's division.
It's pretty surreal, man.
You guys should have brought your trophy.
Pretty surreal. Well, the trophies we got didn't make it in the flight back. They got smashed. They were ceramic.
What?
So it's funny because those are nice, but I feel like the state, regional, whatever they were actually, kind of nicer. They were bigger and glass than what we got from winning the states. But they smashed. So,
but there is a big trophy at the Bears Club that sits in the clubhouse.
Similar to this.
That'll have our names on it.
That's
now.
right.
And Rory McIlroy's a member there. Nick O'Leary's a member there.
Which is the grandson who I got some updates for you post-podcast. I'll tell you, I'll fill you in on. Seriously, though. Pretty cool. But anyway, before we get carried away, as you can tell, we got a great dynamic here. I want to start with introductions, and I'll start with let's start with Alex, as Steve just talked for a second. So, Alex, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
I'm Alex Villafranca, founder at Verde Golf. Golf apparel company, just started it this year.
Cool. Welcome.
Thanks.
Nicky.
Nick Martone, PGA HOPE ambassador and co-founder of Team F.A.S.T Foundation.
Awesome.
And Stephen Barkowski, the executive director of the Western New York PGA and our charitable arm, PGA Reach Western New York.
Excellent. Yeah, and everything that's kind of come together here, it's really like, I think, Steve, you mentioned it. It's been about a year since this kind of really all came together. It's funny because, Alex and I connected January 2020, and I can still remember Alex talking about Verde as it was in progress in production, telling you, we're going to blow this thing up. And, it's not been fully optimized yet. Obviously a tumultuous year. But we'll dig more into exactly what Verde is, why it was founded, and what we're doing in partnership with Western New York PGA. Really exciting stuff. And actually, our boy right here in the middle, Nicky, is wearing a creation that was spawned from the partnership between both Western New York PGA and Verde Golf. So we'll jump into that. But the underlying themes of today's show will be community. And that's, like I mentioned earlier, and I'm getting goosebumps as I talk about it, but this is a community center, really, is what this is here at Glen Oak. So maybe, I think what we can go next into is just, I know you hit a little bit on each of where you're, kind of representing, but maybe more about your story. So Alex, we'll start with you, maybe how Verde Golf came about, what else you might be doing, obviously Our Bite.
Sure. Yeah.
And then same for Nick and Steve. Yeah,
so I'm a founder at a software company, also Our Bite Software. Founded that 8 years ago. And I guess, to get a little deeper into why I started Verde, I love creating things. It's at the start, the first 70% of any project that's my thing. Yeah. I get super passionate during that time. So Our bike's doing great now, but it's past that first 70%. Not this, I love our bike still, but I wanted to have that fun of creating something again. So that's why I got the idea, like, I'm going to start Verde Golf Apparel. I love golf. And then as I got more into doing it, I started to see there's a lot of maybe deeper reasons why, like, I really wanted to do this. And then, like, all this charitable stuff, it started to, like, really, like, just kind of be a lot more fun, I started to get more passionate about it. But, I mean, golf is, like, something that I love. Obviously, it's fun. And, but there's other reasons for it. And it's just, like, the different generations of people that you get to play with. Like, you can be a 10-year-old kid and you can play with a 90-year-old. And, like, that 90-year-old is better than, like, me right now. Yeah. And I played with people like that, and it's really cool to see that. And I feel like there's there's a big push going on now in golf. You see it a lot with a lot of different companies that's trying to make golf more diverse, inclusive. It's always been inclusive and diverse amongst, like, generations, right? But now, like, with different demographics, race and stuff like that, like in religion and all that, like, it's trying to be more inclusive of that. And I think that's awesome. And, like, because of when you're out there having fun, like, there's no better way to bond with somebody than, like, playing a sport together, I think. So, and that's, like, why PGA HOPE was so great. Like, right now you're offering it to veterans and getting into this. And, like, I can only imagine how, like, I mean, I'm privileged to not have to, like, worry about a lot of these things, and, like, my mental health, like, golf helps with that. And, like, so I can only imagine how much it helps veterans when they come back from service there. Like, I can't imagine what they're experiencing over there. So they come back, they're struggling, and they need to, help with their mental health. So that's why, like, I wanted to get involved with it, right? You introduced me to Nick. Second you meet Nick, awesome guy.
That's how it was with him. Me and I were crying together the first time we met back in January. I'm about to cry right now listening to you talk.
We didn't even finish 9 holes, and I was like, I want Nick to do this photo shoot with us when I was first doing the website. Because, like, Nick's just that guy that, like, you're around and just you smile, right? You're like, he, like, brings you up. Yeah. And, like, PGA HOPE helped Nick, and, like, it was just, it was perfect. So it was just really fun to be involved with, and I appreciate you. To Nick and Steve and allowing me to be a part of it, and, like, so that's my spiel.
Alex is usually like that middle of the road guy, but it's fun to see him get juiced. This is, I think, his version of juice, which gets me juiced, and my version of juice is probably borderline scary. But I'm actually, like, getting, like, emotional listening to you, because it's so powerful and so true. And so we're so thankful. We'll cover more of what it is that you've been able to do, help us with. And when I say us, I'm talking Western New York PGA, PGA HOPE, Team F.A.S.T. But that's a perfect segue into the man in the middle here, who I think got a little emotional too. He might need a breather. Nicky Martone, then, PGA HOPE and Team F.A.S.T.
John, thanks, man. I appreciate you. And Alex, thank you too. That was cool. That was cool to hear, because, when I got out in 2010.
Yeah, we should say that Nick is a Marine veteran. I'm sorry to
no,
so our millions of viewers are in the know. Sure.
Yeah. So I joined in 2006, served to 2010. 2 tours, one on ship with the Navy, one in Afghanistan, and getting back, finding positive people like yourself and community-driven people like yourself, John and Steve here. It's been truly an honor to be a part of this process. 10 years now, fast forwarding, looking. Where I was to where I am now, it's people like you, it's the community, it's real special, So when I got out in 2010, needless to say, I struggled, with my transition, dealing with emotions and using drugs and alcohol as a kind of mask to help me with a lot of that. So until things got the worst back in 2016, I checked myself into a PTSD program, which really focused on the mental health side, the counseling side, which was a huge piece. And getting out of that, having kind of some knowledge and being excited to give back and let other veterans know that, they don't have to be fighting as hard as they need to be, because there are resources and people willing to help. And that's when Team F.A.S.T came, to mind. F.A.S.T, being an acronym like veterans most, always use, focus always on strengthening our troops. Our mission is to redefine the way veterans transition back home by redefining the way that process happens for them when they get out. And I believe it starts with decompressing, I believe it's a huge part of it is, like you said, being a part of a team, and golf does that for so many. And obviously, you know, having the knowledge and knowing what to expect when they get back, you know, to make, you know, a transition for me at least, you know, because it took me, you know, 6-7, you know, years to really figure out what was happening, and to get the help and good people, positive, supportive people around me to obviously be living a more, you know, the best life I can.
Yeah.
You know, so with that, you know, in 2016, getting out of the program, I was introduced to the PGA HOPE program, and that was kind of really just a huge piece. You know, I played football growing up. You know, I played football, sports, wrestled and stuff. And when I got out, I lost that sense of, you know, just excitement for doing stuff because I was fighting, you know, depression and anxiety and stuff. So it was tough to get out there. But golf was one of those perfect sports that, you know, you can play by yourself. You know, you can have the course by yourself and just kind of be in tune with your own, you know, your thoughts. You know, so mindfully it was great. Stress relieving, great. Anxiety, great. And that ultimately is what the mission of the PGA HOPE program is, to enhance veterans, you know, social, mental, physical, and emotional well-being. And it's absolutely done that for me. You know, Steve here has been a huge, I call him a friend now, you know, known him for going on maybe 4 or 5 years.
Like a brother.
My gosh. And all the other people and the pros that I'm involved with, like Timmy Freeze here, has been just a blessing, really, truly. And, you know, I'm just excited and privileged to be, you know, amongst you guys. Yeah. So thank you for having me again. And see you.
Yeah, I just wanted to hit on something quickly. Maybe, well, I'll say it here. Acronyms. HOPE stands for Helping Our Patriots Everywhere. And I was privileged to have met you through Steve and Timmy Freeze, who's the owner of Glen Oak, and get to know you and get to know the program. You know, I've done a lot of work volunteering, but military I was light with, and I have such an admiration for folks like yourself and your fellow servicemen and women that sacrifice so much, or the ultimate sacrifice even. And so using the game of golf, which is a deep passion of mine, to then help and give back another passion, put those together, was like a no-brainer. So my thanks to Steve and to Timmy, and then obviously to you. Yeah. Dude, January 2020, feels like it was yesterday, and here we are in the year already. But yeah, Helping Our Patriots Everywhere, incredible. It's a part of PGA Reach, and so good segue for Steve and maybe hit on what he's doing and the programs that you're running. Yeah, and thanks for letting me go third here so I can just, you know, hop on the ideas of these smarter individuals to my side here. But no, it's you know, you touch on what the game of golf does, right? And you think about relationships. It's humbling. I'm now going into my I think 5th year as the executive director of our PGA section, as well as our foundation, and these are just a few of the individuals that through the game of golf, you know, we've created great relationships, and the game of golf just gives so much back to the community. If you look behind us, we're here in our boardroom here at Glen Oak that we do call the Golf Hub. There's a list of presidents from our PGA section that go all the way back to when we started in 1925. Our section's almost been around for 100 years. You know, for those that don't know, the PGA of America is one of the largest sports industries in the country. There's 41 sections across the country similar to us that have 300 PGA professionals, and their ultimate goal is to have people enjoy the game of golf and get to know the game of golf, grow the game of golf, because golf, unlike many other sports, is, like you said, something you could play for a lifetime. We've seen it help veterans with their physical and mental aspect. We've seen it help women get actually promotions in business. So and we've seen it create collaborations that help businesses such as Verde Golf. And I'll touch on something that Alex really said that kind of hits home with us PGA professionals and the PGA. We are in the middle of trying to make our game look more like the country, right? Our game has really been, to be honest, it's been high class, right? Over the years, it's been tough to access. It's been tough to get into. You need money. But in order for us to grow as a golf community, we need to start thinking about ways that we can make our game of golf look more like our community here in Western New York. Very diverse, right? So from an overall standpoint of how we can do that is through our PGA Reach Western New York Foundation. For those that don't know, fortunate to, again, serve those who served us. Thank you again, Nick, for all your service. But, you know, what we do is we utilize the game of golf, and we serve youth
we serve military and we serve diverse individuals through programming. And, you know, it's humbling to be sitting here again that with the relationships that we've created.
That's
And
so true.
at the end of the day, it's all created because of the game of golf, right? So it's really fun. And I can't wait to see, you know, where we go the next, you know, 5 years as the Western PGA section, because we got some pretty cool things in the work thanks to everyone in this room, as well as so much support of the community.
Tons. I'm getting so excited. There's so many things I want to unpack to add to that. Where do we start? Do we start with, do we want to talk about some of maybe on that last point, some long-term visions of the section? Do you want to hit on some of that and talk about kind of what the plans are for 2021, what's going on around this environment here? Or we could talk about Verde. You know, look at you guys. What do you think? What do you want to unpack? Because there's so much. I mean, I get so excited on this.
I think what Verde has been able to do, you know, what else has been able to do as far
And that's
as,
VERDE, like green in Spanish, Verde Golf, yeah.
You know, for me and what the program's obviously provided me is an experience, you know, the camaraderie, and to be nominated to be a PGA HOPE ambassador. National ambassador was absolutely just, you know, unbelievable. It was an experience of a lifetime. And I always say, you know, because when I served, you know, and guys are down, you know, their spirits are somewhat down, you know, like you said too, my energy's a little higher. But I always said, you know, motivation's contagious, you know, that spark, what you've been able to do, especially, you know, being introduced in January, going on about a year now.
It's like yesterday.
It's been something special to be a part of, and to see and be excited for the future is just amazing. But, you know, that experience itself was just, I mean, they flew me down to Congressional Country Club.
PGA, this is PGA of America.
PGA
right?
of America, yeah. And, you know, flew me down. I mean, had the hotel. You know, we got to play and be coached by some of the best instructors in the world. And that's one of the best parts about the program. Lee Trevino, you know, Marine veteran, machine gunner. I mean, what an experience to have him at the Metropolitan Club, you know, downtown D.C. And be able to hear some of his stories and hear, you know, where he came from and his transition too with all of it. But, you know, to have those experiences, you know, replaces other veterans, you know, not so good experiences. Right. You know, and through the game, you know, veterans are particular, you know, like especially Marines. Well, every branch really are you know, they pay attention to detail. And that game of golf, you know, it's funny because you talked about the 90-year-old guy, right? That will beat me too.
Yeah.
You know, there's always something to learn. There's always a way you can better your game, and that's kind of like, you know, the transition for a lot of veterans is finding little tools that you can put in and little things that you can use to help your process and for you to grow. But the experience again, you know, to be an ambassador and come back and talk about my story and you know, and hear other veterans' story. That's been, you know, a lot of fun for me, you know, to be engaged with other veterans, you know, to possibly be encouraging and supportive for them. And
not possibly, definitely.
You know,
you're definitely encouraging. I mean, I see the vets. We had 80 this past summer program, give or take.
Between the 3 chapters, we had actually about 100 in a COVID year, which was phenomenal.
That's incredible. I mean, just back to your point. I mean, your name's buzzing around at all times. Where's Nicky at? Where's he at? Yeah, he was working with me because you know, as much as Nick is you know, a member or a participant in PGA HOPE and the sessions we do, which are what, 4 sessions? I want to say.
Six
total.
sessions.
6 total. Wow. Like over the year, I'm saying per season, there's 6 of them.
There's so we have 3 chapters: Buffalo, Rochester, and Erie.
Yeah.
We do a winter and summer session here in Buffalo, a winter summer session in Rochester, and then we do a summer session in Erie. That's
right. Yeah, and just you know, being a part of myself as a coach, I know Alex has been to a few, and we which I want to hit on what this shirt is that Nick's wearing.
Yeah.
Because that was probably the highlight of my year, jumping around is the graduation that happens for the veterans here at Glen Oak. What was that? Late August, maybe? Am I right on that? July, August. It's time flies, but. Alex has been quiet for a few minutes here, so I want to bring him back into the fold, but probably because we're talking a lot. But Alex, and I'll let him tell more of the story, but when we did graduation, which celebrates, what was it, is it 6? No, 8. This past was 8 sessions. 8 sessions within the summer session. And so when the vets go through that, there's a graduation ceremony. And so Alex that same day attended, and we had the announcement for the shirt. So I'll let you guys take over what we learned that day. Alex's incredible generosity and just what this exactly is, this shirt, what it represents, and a shout out to the shirt and the company.
Yeah, and do you mind if I just kind of really dive into what HOPE is, so we can? Go. So HOPE, as you said, helping our Patriots everywhere. Our PGA professionals who are professional instructors and certified, they actually go through a process to get trained on how to teach individuals with missing limbs or PTSD. And they teach these veterans for a 6 to 8 week program. In the summer, we actually, as a PGA of America, have a memorandum of understanding, and it's the only golf program in the country that actually serves the veteran hospital as an actual physical therapy lesson. So these veterans actually sign up through their local VA and get certified in VA and in physical therapy and use game of golf to help them. So as you mentioned, and we'll talk past it right
sorry,
on to
I
Alex.
got excited.
Yeah, no, I know.
Thanks for grabbing the horns back and saying, hey, this is what we're doing.
So our whole goal when we start this process, whether it's 6 to 8 weeks, we ensure our veterans stay through the program for over half the sessions, because we want to make sure they're sticking with it and sticking to the game of golf, which brings us to, this summer we had a nice graduation that Alex was able to join us with. Very emotional, at least for me. We had the most ever veterans that graduated. I'll let you talk on your experience in being first part of PGA HOPE.
I mean, that graduation was awesome. It was like it was an experience, obviously, for me. Meeting different guys, Bill and Eddie at the table that we sat with. Like, what a it was definitely changes your perspective on things. Like, realize how thankful you are for everything you have. And when I seeing how much joy the PGA HOPE program brought to all 80 people that were there, or 100 people, that's just what golf does for me. And the fact that you can do that, that this program's doing that to people who don't have maybe that joy elsewhere, that's awesome. And so we were always talking about making a shirt and getting proceeds going to raise money for the PGA HOPE program, but we decided to create 100 of these custom polos.
You gotta get all the logos and you logo it up. And you tatted it up. Inked up and logoed up, baby.
Nick makes it look good.
He does.
So we donated these, and Steve can go into the logistics behind where they're available and everything, but they are selling these polos to raise money directly for the PGA HOPE program.
Might I add 100% donation thanks to the generosity of Alex at Verde Golf. So all everything that we're putting together on this, it's there was no cost to the foundation, which is just incredible. So we're super thankful for that.
It's awesome.
Steve, talk maybe more about, like you said, logistics and how it's going to work. We'll throw out a link or something in this so people can see it.
Yeah, these shirts, again, the limited edition, thanks to Verde Golf, which was huge. They're going to be sold at limited shops around our section. We're targeting about 8 facilities right now. We've got Glen Oak Pro Shop, Niagara Frontier, Lancaster Country Club, Penfield and Rochester, Kakwa and Erie, Fox Valley in Lancaster, and we're going to be adding a few more. But we also will have a link on our website that hopefully we can throw up after this, where you buy this shirt for $50. And what it does, it's not only gets you the sweet shirt, right?
One of 100.
Yeah, one of 100 that's being sold, but it also, your $50 goes to buying a shirt for a veteran for our next year's PGA HOPE graduation. Alex is making another camouflage shirt for the veterans. That's going to be pretty cool. So
that's going to sell like hotcakes.
We're calling it Buy Hope, Give Hope. So you buy a shirt for yourself, you also give a shirt to a veteran.
Buy Hope, Give Hope. That's incredible.
It's a great slogan.
And we have a Hope on staff who's working remotely because of COVID, but we got Hope here who's a fellow, PGA fellow. So just incredible. It goes back to community, it goes back to inclusion, it goes back to giving back, giving first. And it wouldn't be possible without these individuals sitting here in front of the camera. So all you guys, for your energy, your effort, Steve's, logistical business sense, the ability to go to the board and say, hey, here's what we want to do, talk to national, and then obviously Alex's generosity, and then all of us being creative and coming up with that beautiful, design with it's hard to see maybe on the camera, but there's a PGA HOPE logo. It's a dog tag. That's like an American flag. Excuse me. It's all over the shirt. We got Western New York PGA section up top on the collar. You got PGA Reach on the one sleeve, and of course Verde Golf on the other sleeve. So really nifty stuff. And just one of the things that Steve had hinted, one of so many things happening at the club here that are being done to give back, to create hope, create excitement, engagement in a time that 2020 has obviously been a tumultuous year. What else do we want to unpack here?
Well, that's a big, what you just said actually too, is, since 2020 has been so, wild, with, social distancing and stuff like that, going back to what sports and obviously the game does, being able to get out there, get some fresh air, some exercise, is so important for veterans, to stay active, stay engaged, either with, other, groups, but, do something that you love. Seth Waugh said it, he's golf's our life sport. We can play it from a young age, at the earliest age, till we can't anymore. And even for our, disabled vets, what Alex, provided with the shirts and us, being able to raise funds, provides our program things like our solo cart rider, for our disabled vets. Eddie Andino, you had mentioned, an Army veteran, has a tough time breathing, and the solo cart allows him the opportunity to continue playing the game he loves. So it's able to drive on the tee boxes,
on the green,
in sand,
right?
bunkers, everything on the green, and he never has to leave the cart.
It's amazing.
Two of our veterans, Randy and Josh, one out in Texas, one out near Carolina. One of the other two ambassadors across the country. They were in them and got to play Congressional Country Club, which is an experience for them too, as well as the others that were there, and it's just special, it really is.
So, Nikki, speaking of special, there's some really special things going on here at Glen Oak, as we've mentioned a few different times on the course of this episode. So, who better than Steve, who has been spearheading so much of these efforts, and kudos, Steve, for the things you're doing. We've heard how much of an impact it's had on both Alex and Nikki and me. Why don't we talk more about kind of what's happening here at a high level, as to kind of tease out maybe some cool things happening in 2021?
Sure. Yeah, we were so fortunate to, as a PGA section, have the ability to come here and build out office space. Our Western New York PGA Hall of Fame is here because of Tim Freeze, the local PGA professional that all know well, bought Glen Oak, and what it's been really, Glen Oak, especially during the time of COVID, as all golf courses around our section, it's been a safe haven, the game of golf. And what we're doing now as a section and a foundation as a whole, we're using Glen Oak as sort of a test site for a new opportunity that I know you're well aware of. You're going to be very involved in.
So juice for it. Let's go.
Woo! We're starting
we want the audio on that.
We're starting a capital campaign process, and I don't need to dive into too many details, but it's going to be called, I think, Project 4. It's fostering opportunities through recreation and education.
F-O-R-E.
It goes off F-O-R-E, so if you get a slice. And what
Nikki,
it really is, it's expanding what we're doing here at Glen Oak out into Rochester and Erie, and what we've seen here. This is now the site of the training ground of Special Olympics New York. It's a site of PGA HOPE where 100 veterans come through every year. It's a site of PGA Junior League where we have over 500 kids that play team sports. It's also the site of, we started a United Way women's program that we raised money for and help women get involved in the game of golf to help their status in their industry. So
there's one other one too, Timmy Frank can mention that.
First Tee of Western New York, we let them come out here and utilize this facility, and that's really the object of Project 4 that we're trying to raise enough money for to actually build out different locations in each area so that we, as the PGA, can be the golf hub for other organizations to come and utilize our PGA professional skills and the game of golf to do better for themselves and the community. So we're really excited. I know you're excited.
You couldn't tell by that audio being blown out earlier.
I think we'd all be remiss to say, can we talk a little bit about you and what you're doing and why we're here because of you, really. So your involvement in the PGA and all of our programs.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the shout out. We were making jokes off camera and even kind of on camera. It's all about John, but it's just the energy that engulfs kind of where I like to go, and the energy that Nikki spouts off, and Alex and Steve in their own unique ways, the energy that they put out that I've thrived on. And going back to January 2020, it was nice to reconnect with Stevie. I've known Steve now for some years, worked for Encore Golf I did, and got to know Steve through that. And I met Nick that fateful day, January 13, 2020, at Meet on Transit Road. Look at that. It was supposed to be 45, 60 minutes, and we were there for over 2 hours. He made me cry on our first hangout. So, and obviously we've mentioned now Timmy Freeze a few times. And ironically, I had lunch with Alex that same week. I'm sorry to be like weird here with dates.
Really?
But 2 days later, I had lunch with Alex at Camaraderie, which is now closed. God, I love Camaraderie in downtown Buffalo. And it wasn't even COVID related, but we met and we talked about Verde. So 2 days after, unbeknownst to me, you know, at the time, and then honestly, I was thinking about you guys in that meeting as sitting there with Alex, and after meeting with you guys, that there was going to be something cool coming out of this, and here we are. So yeah, you know, love to do that, love to be at the epicenter of things, but really the reason that I'm here is because I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in good energy. You talk about Nick's energy, you talk about Alex, you talk about yours, Steve, and the energy you guys put out, it's infectious, contagious, whatever you want to call it. And I was attracted to wanting to be with you guys and work together and do things in the community, because without community, we're nothing, right? So, you know, for me, give first mentality is branded, is imprinted, whatever, in my essence, my spirit. And so you three embody that very spirit as well. So hence why we're all best buds now, and we're going to do things that are going to change the way that the community, you know, sees the world in terms of golf and all the cool things happening here. So
I don't think I put out much energy, but you know,
you have a unique way of putting it out, though. So all of our millions of listeners that are checking this episode, if you go to Alex's, you know, social handles of Verde Golf or anything, you'll get a few glimpses at what energy Alex can bring to the table. Doing the Happy Gilmore around after he pounded a drive on 11 here at Glen Oak for the photo shoot. And again, just so much happening here at Glen Oak, right? Like, we, you know, Timmy Freeze, I get goosebumps when I talk about him. I look at him like a second dad to me. I mean, he's on the wall. You won't see him because the angle of the camera, but he's just down there on the wall. He's not here. You're saying love you? Oh, to the camera, but
great guy.
I mean, Timmy, you know, he's not active on LinkedIn, but when we put this podcast out, he'll certainly be tagged. I mean, I have no words. I just, maybe you guys have words.
Well, I was going to say,
gratitude for Timmy.
You know, January was such a cool time because maybe a week or 2 weeks before
we got to about the marathon. Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
So hit it up. So we got to pull on this guy.
We went to Grover's and we were having a cheeseburger, and I was just coming back off the ambassador trip, and we were just talking about that and how we're looking forward.
I was right there with you. 50 pounds later, I'm here, but
so that meeting was to talk about kind of, you know, just the future that year, and we didn't know at that time COVID was going to be hitting.
No,
and you know, we were all amped up. I think we were talking about something else, and I said, well, I'll do a marathon. And I think Steve was talking about maybe us doing the 100-hole marathon, which we do every year.
Which we won this year.
You guys won, yeah. We won.
Out there. 100-hole marathon.
And he goes, I'm not running. And I go, I wasn't talking about running, but maybe I am.
So is that how it came about?
That's how I said.
So wasn't he?
As soon as I said that, Steve goes, if you run a marathon, I'll run the marathon. And we shook on it that day. A week later,
and then
we see you.
I go to lunch. Like I said, 45 minutes carved out on the calendar. Excited to reconnect. Whatever. It's January after the holidays. You know, I just started a sober drive, so I was kind of whatever. I was trying to lose some weight, and boom, I meet you, and we're all talking, and you know, there was something about you mentioned it, right? And I'm a runner. You know, I was a runner, but at that point, I was just coming off of a tough end of 2019. You know, you mentioned some of the struggles you went through. I certainly went through them last year into the new year. But meeting guys like you and doing the things we're doing at this table, you know, here at Glen Oak have helped. But point is, I mean, I go to the meeting and they mention the marathon. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like, cool guys. Like, good luck. 2 hours goes by and they go, so yeah, about that marathon. I'm like, yeah, you guys are gonna run it. And they're like, what do you say? You want to join? I remember looking down. I was like, I like running, and it's a good thing to kind of use as like leverage to myself to stay accountable. And I was like, and I know that's going to sound on the audio, but I go, I'm in. I remember that. I'll never forget it. And so from that day, we started getting ready, and you know, at the time I was, you know, a little bit overweight, so it was tough to run 240 pounds. But as the time went on, you know, we grinded until unfortunately we found out in April that the marathon was not happening, but to tie our boy Alex back in, who seems like you know, he's a little bit of a runner.
I think there's one person in this room that's not
he's not on the team.
On the team to raise funds and run the marathon.
Well, right, I mean, I know he's a runner, Alex. He's we gotta tie him in. He's in. He's in.
Yeah, I've never ran a marathon, but I'll join.
You can definitely run a marathon. I know you
do it. I can do it.
I mean, and so just a shout out to anyone watching this that might have interest in sincerity. Last year we had maybe 6, 7, 8 of us. Obviously it didn't happen, but the whole thing here was, yeah, we're going to run the marathon. But the reason behind running the marathon, as Steve and Nick would tell you, is we want to raise awareness, number one, on the things that veterans are going through right now in the country now more than ever, but also to raise funds, of course, too, to then give back to the program so that we can have more of those sessions and more of, contact with mental health professionals, whatever it may be, to fund the program. So that's what Alex will join, and thank you, Alex.
Yes.
That's awesome. Going to join us on that, and so that's the whole goal. So this year, May 30th, 2021, will be the Buffalo Marathon that we are still going to be signed up for. The 3 of us now, adding Alex. I know we've got a few others that'll join, but this is a shout out to anyone who likes to run 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon. There might even be some stuff even below a 5K.
For the kids, for
anything. If you want to represent PGA HOPE, PGA Reach, Western New York, we'd love to connect and talk and add you to our roster. So we'll put some other information up, I'm sure, at some point on that. But we've now got Alex joined, and I know we've got some folks on the staff here that'll join us as well. So yeah, I mean, this has been awesome. We've in summary, we've talked about, obviously Verde Golf and how that's come about, Alex, and the incredible human that he really is. Nicky, Team F.A.S.T, and his story through, coming back from the war and getting involved with PGA HOPE and doing the great things he's doing in the community, and how then Steve, through PGA HOPE, PGA Reach, and just Western New York PGA section has done some absolutely just fantastic, some of the most incredible community work I've ever seen. I've seen kind of a decent amount. So just such a pleasure and joy to be involved and sitting here with you guys and just, yeah. So interest in the shirts, we'll have some links up for after the podcast.
Sorry.
Please, no,
I know you're going to end it and you're not going to say this, but just a testament to how the power of osmosis, right? So I'll plug Johnny here.
$10 on Venmo. $10 on Venmo.
I mean, Verde's been open for 6 months, and I now have polos made with the PGA logo on them. And it would not have happened if it wasn't for John. So
appreciate it.
I appreciate you and championing Verde and being an ambassador for it.
Right there, Connect, Collaborate, Champion.
Yeah. So this is a case study to osmosis and what can be achieved if you have Johnny
Osmosis
on board there. So
appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Yeah, this is again, the secret to living is giving. Tony Robbins. So. That's what it's all about. So appreciate all 3 of you.
Love you, brother.
A lot of fun here.
Thank
Love
you.
Thank you. A lot of fun, and we'll hope the audience enjoys this. But again, just recapping, we'll put up some links to Verde, to Western New York PGA, and all the other things we talked about. And obviously, you can reach out to any one of us. Again, Alex Villafranca, Verde Golf, Nicky Martone, Team F.A.S.T, PGA HOPE. Steve Barkowski, Western New York PGA, PGA HOPE, PGA Reach. Man, I can talk fast. I should be an auctioneer. Johnny Osmosis, Power of OZmosis. Thanks for joining us. And thank you again to VidWheel Creator Network, my support team. Wouldn't be possible without all the great equipment here and support from them. Neil and Morgan, we appreciate the things you do for Power of OZmosis podcast. So everyone, have a great rest of your time after watching this, whatever you're doing right now. And we'll see you on the next episode.